How's it going, fam? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and tonight we have some fun stuff to look at. If you can even see it, the lighting is terrible. It's storming outside, so I have no natural lighting, but I wanted to talk about a couple of things that came in. And a quick update, we have officially purchased one of 2 campers that we're going to live in. So that's super exciting. We checked one out tonight, but the guy was just a prick. And I didn't want to deal with it, so we didn't actually end up getting that one. But we did put a deposit down on one yesterday, and that family is super nice and totally willing to help us. Mr. Bibbs is here. So, yeah, that's really exciting. But fingers crossed that we find another one. Okay, so let's get into the knives because we have some really interesting stuff here. Thanks to a new friend of mine, this has been sent in for testing. A Spyderco Chaparral, I think it's pronounced. To me, it is a tiny baby Sage 5 lightweight with a backlock. I mean, it's tiny. It's smaller than a Benchmade mini grip. It's like microscopic, super thin. He sent this in for me to just try out and test. This thing is just one of the weirdest little knives I've ever seen. It's so thin and tiny and really cool. So I'm very excited to use this. Obviously, this is not even close to a review on any of this stuff. It's just like a first look, first impressions, and showing you guys some cool stuff that I came home to today after work. So there's that. This will be really fun to try out for a little bit. Because like I said, it's just a tiny Sage 5 with a different lock. But it's the same blade shape, same handle scales, same texturing, everything. So that's really cool. Then, this came in a couple days ago. Now, you may be thinking, what on earth is that doing there? Well, I am obsessed with testing and debunking and just myth-busting. So this arrived a couple days ago, and it's a Sebenza 31. No inlays this time. Just a usual S45 VN double lug polished blade. I've never had one of those before. I don't know. I've been using it, so it's really smudgy, but hopefully you can see it's not a stone wash blade. It's got the grind lines, so it's polished. All silver hardware. And this came in to be tested too. I, as you guys know, had a long conversation with Tim on the phone, and we were discussing how both of my Sebenza 31s with micarta inlays came really messed up. And I am so trying to debunk what happened, basically, with those. So this came in, and I will say it is perfect. Like, beyond perfect. Sorry that the phone keeps going off. That is what Nicole Dodge does. It's just constant texting. This arrived flawless, perfect, how it should be. I already took it apart. No stuck hardware. Nothing wrong with this at all. It is absolutely perfect. So I am really curious as to what happened with the 2 that we got with inlays because they both had the same exact issues. And this one is as it should be. It's absolutely stunning and flawless. So this will be used and abused, and I'm really going to be testing this one and pushing it to its limits. A pocket clip is fitted correctly. Did I tell you guys that that's what Tim said? Remember when my pocket clip was riding down onto the lock bar and people, like, we're talking a year ago when I was testing, people were like, that's a hidden feature. They did that on purpose because it's a lock bar stabilizer. Oh, that was a hard one to deal with. No, it's not. It's called a fuck up. That pocket clip is not supposed to move, and Tim told me that mine had not been fitted correctly because it should not be moving onto the lock bar. This one, rock solid, dude. Does not move. So I ended up just taking the pocket clip off of my Inlay 31 and putting a filler tab in there because once I heard from the man himself that it was faulty, and I could have just sent it in, but like I already had a filler tab. But once he was just like, no, that's literally not supposed to happen. Whoever put that pocket clip on there, it was not fitted correctly. So this one is just creme de la creme, 100% correct, and I'm very excited to use this and put it through the paces. And no, Tim is not the one that sent this to me, just a heads up. Okay, let's look at something that everyone really wants to see right now. Do you know what this is? You may not. You see a little butterfly down in there. If you're thinking that this is the REDOUBT, how it's supposed to be, you're right. Guys, here's what the Benchmade REDOUBT should have looked like when it was released from Benchmade. Also known as Applied Weapons Tech going above and beyond for us per usual. Thank fuck. Because now that these scales are on here, I'm like, how did Benchmade even release it with the plastic scales? Guys, this... I'm trying not to, like, hyperventilate. Let's just look at this. Is it that hard to just make it correct? So, I made a video about the REDOUBT saying that I wanted to love it, but I couldn't yet because it was not essentially finished, in my opinion. Now it is. And all of my guesses and estimates of what these scales would do for me were 100% accurate. Oh my goodness, guys. This is like a dream knife at this point. So Applied Weapons Tech, basically when the REDOUBT was released, they were already working on scales for it because they knew that we would fucking hate the plastic ones. And these are above and beyond what I wanted. So, we have a milling configuration that takes the REDOUBT clip or any type of normal Benchmade clip or Lynch clip because you have your normal 2-hole milling on both sides. So, ambidextrous, of course. You can use this clip on that side. You can use a Benchmade clip, a Lynch clip, whatever the fuck you want on either side. A small lanyard pin comes with the scales to insert in the back so that you still have this lanyard area because we don't have a milled hole through these. We have a pin and you slide your paracord through there. Same exact hardware that comes with your REDOUBT. You just plug it right into the holes. Took me maybe 2 minutes to swap these over, so crazy easy installation per usual. Let's check out centering. Dead center. Action is fantastic. It's still breaking, and this is literally a new knife. But nice and smooth. In hand, this feels... I can't even explain how good this feels, guys. So if you bought the REDOUBT for hard use, let's play pretend where we use our knives here. If you bought the REDOUBT and you're one of the aliens that uses your knives, and maybe you bought it as like a hard use knife because it can take it, right? A Griptilian 2, if you will. These scales, if you thought that the plastic ones were comfortable, oh my lord. These are some of the most comfortable Applied Weapons Tech scales I've ever handled, or just in general, but I don't know if it's maybe, well, they contoured the edges, but I think it's this particular width I haven't really experienced yet with Applied Weapons Tech. The Para 3 is kind of close to this height here, or this width of scales, but it's a smaller package. So I'm kind of wondering if this feels so fluffy and dreamy because it's a bigger knife and it just, there's just more real estate to work with here, but not in a bad way. Like, remember when I was saying the REDOUBT was oversized for me? These scales make it feel much more suited to my hand. And go figure, like I said, that squared off butt to me looks way better. The contours look way better. I feel that this looks like a real knife now. This thing honestly looks like a war tank. I mean, this is about to do some serious freaking work. But I'm telling you, aside from it looking cool in hand, it feels incredible. And now, do you guys kind of see here how it's fitting my hand a little better? Now, don't get me wrong. This knife is large, and it's too big for me in general. Like, I've said this a million times. The bug out and the small Sebenza 31, these are much more my size. See how there's nothing at all, like, anywhere? This is much more my size. But if we are talking my size of large knives, this is my size of a large knife. Because a knife like the PM2 or whatever, that's a large knife, but it's way too big and long for me. This REDOUBT is a large knife, but I actually feel that it fits my hand very well now that it has been redesigned, ergonomically speaking. Okay, so I do have a good chunk there, just like I did before. I feel like not as much on the back, but the way that it feels in my hand, it feels much more refined, not as chunky. It's a little more like slimline, I feel, and just, it just feels good, guys. This feels phenomenal in hand. I also, like I had mentioned before, figured that getting the upgraded scales would maybe help me maneuver the knife better in my hands and just kind of open and close it easier because it is a bigger knife for me. That is true already. In handling it, putting it together, messing around with it tonight, I can tell right away I am much more confident moving this knife around now that I have these scales on it. It just feels different. It feels way different and way, way better. So I did put the original clip on here to try out. It looked incredible, went in nicely, all that good stuff. Then I put I think I just said original, but I'm talking like the original Benchmade clip, like the three hole one that's flat, the OG one that's just like perfect. I had put that on to try it. Looks great, performs great. Then I put the actual REDOUBT clip back on. Not wiggling around like on the stock scales. Looks really good to me. Fits in there nice and perfect. I don't know, guys. You guys might have to pick some of these up. I don't think they're available yet. I don't think you can buy them yet. Hopefully they will be in, a couple weeks. Sorry about that light. I'm trying to block it with my head. Hopefully they will be ready in a couple weeks. But you guys might want to, put your money aside. I'm telling you, these are game changers right here. And if you want your knife to not look like a toy anymore, or a Subaru Outback, or an Eddie Bauer knife, as some people said, if you want it to look like a real knife, just look at that. So these are the blue ones. They have like 12 colors. And I just think that blue looks incredible with the kind of like matte gray color. But look at that. Doesn't that just look more real, more refined? It almost looks like a shark, I feel like. Just with the blue and the milling and stuff, it just kind of reminds me of like a shark. It just looks absolutely badass to me. So now I'm just going to test it with these guys. I can't do the original scales that I came with. It felt awful to me. So I'm going to test the REDOUBT with these scales. And I'm really excited to test it because we have a motherfucking fuck ton of work coming up between renovating campers and literally moving to a primitive lifestyle. There's going to be a lot of content, and I'm very excited to use this as just a massive pry bar, scraper, cutter, poker, leverage tool, shovel. I'm going to use this for everything because this thing is a beast. So those are my first impressions of the Applied Weapons Tech REDOUBT scales. Little introduction to some new stuff that has been sent in for the channel. And I just wanted to, I wanted to thank my friend. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants me to say it on YouTube or not, but I wanted to thank my friend for sending this in. I have gotten probably like 200 offers in the past year to have people send stuff in for me to test on the channel, and I've always said no. People have also just wanted to send me stuff for free to test, and I, generally speaking, will say no unless it's a very particular person. Like I'm not going to say no to Jared Neves. Like, if Jared says, I'm sending you a gift to test, I will just be taking it. Like, yeah, yes, Jared. Yes, Kara. Generally speaking, I don't want to do that, and I've always just said no. And I don't know why, but maybe I'm ready to start testing things that people send in now. I don't know. The channel has really grown, guys. And I think through the past couple months and everything happening, I've realized that I do have a place here. And maybe the reason I didn't want to test other people's stuff before was just because I felt that, like, I was doing this, like, for me and only me. And I didn't want to use other people's stuff. And, like, I just felt that I didn't really have a place here other than for myself. But I've gotten a lot of comments and a lot of DMs lately about how people love my content. And they don't get me wrong, it's not always me. Like, it's I'm annoying and obnoxious. It's more or less like seeing actual results of products, real reviews. People are actually really enjoying that lately. And I posted a video last night field dressing a wild rabbit with a Benchmade mini crooked river because there's no appropriate content on that knife on YouTube. You cannot find people skinning with that skinning knife. There's like literally one person. He's Canadian and he did it with the full size, and that video is very hard to find. It's a cool video though. Ballers Club Prez, I think his name is, big Canadian dude, and he just starts shredding geese up on his frickin' table outside. Really cool video. You cannot find usage videos very, very much on a lot of knives. And I think I have finally realized, like, okay, Erica, you really are somebody that has something to contribute to this platform because you're recording these tools doing jobs that they were intended to do. Not sitting there saying that they will do the job without actually ever even, using the knife. Like, actually proving and showing. And I think I finally just found my spot, and especially with this move coming up and all of this new content that will open up for me, it's like, okay, let's fucking do this. Let's really pump out some quality reviews showing what these tools can actually do. Like, I do have a place to do that. So when my friend offered this to try out and to test out, I ended up saying yes for the first time ever, really. So that was kind of a milestone for me. I will be sending this back to him when I am done with it. But he said I can scratch it up and use it and, put it through the paces and see what I think of it. So cheers to many new beginnings, guys. Cheers to the content moving forward, the channel just growing like crazy. Being able to work with companies like Applied Weapons Tech who want to, actually see their products in use. Cheers to use your shit. I will see you guys soon. Love you all.